Hi again, Mark here from Talkingbass.net. Last week we looked at the modes of the harmonic minor scale. This week we'll be looking at modes of the other common minor scale, the melodic minor. As always, you can download the lesson material for this video from Talkingbass.net. Just follow the link in the info below. There's a PDF containing all the tab and sheet music for the things that we cover. And while you're over there, check out the lesson map for hundreds more free lessons on every area of bass playing. So by now you should pretty much be getting to grips with the basic idea behind modes. We simply build a new scale from each step of a parent scale using only the notes of that parent scale. So for a C major scale, we have the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And if we build a scale from the second degree of that major scale, we have D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, which is the Dorian mode. Same notes, just starting and ending on a different note. So if you need any help with any of that stuff, just have a look at the previous lessons that I've done on the major modes and the harmonic minor modes, and there's a link in the info below. So let's just get straight into that melodic minor. Now, as you may or may not be aware, the traditional melodic minor scale is different in its ascending and descending forms. It's actually a natural minor scale in its descent. Today, we'll just be dealing with the jazz melodic minor, which is the same in both ascent and descent. So let's take a look at the basic C melodic minor scale. So we'll start on a C here, 3rd fret of the A string. So the scale sounds like this. Okay, so the notes of the C melodic minor would be C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, so you might be able to tell from that that's pretty much a C major scale, but just with that flattened third in there. So I'll just work through the basic fingering that I've got there. So I'm starting 3rd fret and then 5th fret, 6th fret A string, and then 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret on the D string, then 4th fret and 5th fret on the G string. And you want to play that up and down. Now there's many different ways of playing any scale. So this is just one single fingering. I mean, there's many different ways to play it. But you know, the main thing to get from this is the actual intervallic construction of it. You need to know that it's a root note, then a major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6th, major 7th, and the octave. If you know that little formula for the construction of it, you can just move it anywhere, okay, with any fingering. So that's the standard jazz melodic minor scale. So now we have the melodic minor, we can build the modes from each degree of the scale. And if you've seen the previous videos that I've done on modes, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's just work through each one of them in turn, starting with a root note on the A string. So obviously the first mode is the basic melodic minor scale, which we've just played. So then if we move to the second mode, we'll be starting on D, and we have the Dorian flat 9 scale. So okay, so we have the notes D, E flat, F, G, A, B, C, D. So that's 5th fret, 6th fret, 8th fret, A string, then 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret, D string, and then 5th fret, 7th fret on the G string. Okay, so that's the D Dorian flat 9. If you know a Dorian scale, you just flatten the 2nd or the 9th. And that could be another name for it. You could actually call it the Dorian flat 2 scale as well. So that's the second mode of the melodic minor. For the third mode, we have the Lydian augmented scale. So we're going to be playing an E flat Lydian augmented. So this is the same as a Lydian scale, but just with a sharpened 5th. So we start at the E flat, 6th fret of the A string. We have 6th fret, 8th fret, A string. Then we move on to the D string, 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret. Then on to the G string, 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret. Okay, so. Okay, so that's the E flat Lydian augmented. And remember the notes there will be E flat, F, G, A, B, C, D, E flat. Remember, it's the same as a major scale, but just with that flattened third. So we're actually saying the notes of the C major scale and just flattening that E flat. So E flat, F, G, A, B, C, D, E flat. Okay, there's only one flat in there. For the fourth mode, we have the Lydian dominant scale. So we'll be playing an F Lydian dominant. And a Lydian dominant scale is pretty much the same as a Lydian scale, but we flatten the 7th in there. So it's kind of a cross between a Lydian and a Mixolydian. So 8th fret, 10th fret A string, then 7th fret, 9th fret, 10th fret D string, then 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret on the G string. So F, G, A, B, C, D, E flat, F. Okay, so like I said, it's like coming up a Lydian scale, but when you get to the 7th, it's flattened. Okay? For the 5th mode, we have the Mixolydian flat 13 scale. Like a Mixolydian scale, but just with that flattened 13 or a flattened 6th. So, start at the G, 10th fret of the A string, and we have 10th fret, 12th fret, move up onto the D string, 9th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret, then on the G string, and we have 8th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret. So, like I said, it's like coming up the Mixolydian there, but we flatten that 6th. So that's the Mixolydian flat 13 or Mixolydian flat 6 scale. The 6th mode is the Aeolian flat 5 scale. So you can see a pattern emerging here. This is just like the Aeolian scale or the natural minor scale, but with a flattened 5th. So we'll be starting at the A there, 12th fret of the A string, and we have 12th fret, 14th fret, 15th fret. Then move up onto the D string, 12th fret, 13th fret, 15th fret, then G string, 12th fret, 14th fret. So, okay, just think of that natural minor scale, then when you get to the 5th, it's flattened. Okay. Finally, for the 7th mode, we have the Super Locrian scale. So just like in the harmonic minor with the Ultra Locrian scale, we've got another cool name. So it's going to be the B Super Locrian. So there we start at the 14th fret of the A string. And we have 14th, 15th and 17th fret. Then move on to the D string, 13th, 15th and 17th fret. And then on the G string, we have the 14th and 16th frets. Okay, so... Okay, so it's quite a altered sounding scale, and you'll see how that relates to chords later on. So that's all of the modes of the melodic minor scale. So next we just need to run through them all in order. So let's begin with the C melodic minor, and then I'll just work up through them. So C melodic minor. Then we have the Dorian flat 9. Then the E flat Lydian augmented. Then the F Lydian dominant. Then the G Mixolydian flat 13. Then the A Aeolian flat 5. And finally the B Super Locrian. And then we're back to the C melodic minor. Okay? Now, you may have noticed that the sequence of modes in the melodic minor is closer to the modes of the major scale, and that's because, like I mentioned earlier, the melodic minor can be seen simply as a major scale with a flattened third. There's only one note difference, so the names are very similar. The only one to be careful of is the third mode, the Lydian augmented, and that occurs on the flattened third. So this is closer to the third harmonic minor mode, the Ionian augmented. So just think of it as having the additional sharpened fourth when it's in the melodic minor. So the flattened third degree there, that's the only odd one out. The rest of them are all named pretty much after the modes of the major scale. So second mode in the major scale, Dorian, this is the Dorian flat 9. Then, obviously, we've got the Lydian augmented. Then for the fourth mode, instead of a Lydian scale, we have the Lydian dominant. For the fifth mode, instead of Mixolydian, we've got the Mixolydian flat 13. For the sixth mode, instead of Aeolian, we've got the Aeolian flat 5. And then for the seventh mode, instead of the Locrian, we've got the Super Locrian. Okay? So with the melodic minor, you're better off kind of relating them back to the major scale modes. So just as in the previous lesson on the harmonic minor modes, it's important to be able to relate these modes to the appropriate chords in the key or scale. So let's just work through the chords built from the C melodic minor. So I'll play through the arpeggios built on an A string, just like we did with the modes, and I'll play the triads and the seventh chords. So we begin with C. So we have the C minor triad or the C minor major 7 chord. Then we move to D, and we have the D minor triad, or the D minor 7 arpeggio. So then we move to E flat and we have the E flat augmented or the E flat major 7 sharp 5. Then for the fourth degree we have a major triad or the dominant 7 chord. For the fifth chord we have G major or G7, the G dominant 7. So there's 2 dominant 7 chords in this. We have one on the 4th degree and the 5th degree. Then for the 6th degree we have the A diminished triad or the A minor 7 flat 5 if we play it as a 7th chord. Then for the 7th degree we have the B diminished arpeggio or the B minor 7 flat 5. Okay, now it's worth knowing that it's also possible to build a dominant 7 chord in there with a sharpened 5, but for now we're just going to be building diatonic stacked thirds in there. So for now, just think of that 7th chord there as being a minor 7 flat 5. So now we have the chords in there, let's match them up with the modes. So I'll play through each of the modes in turn, and after each mode I'll play the appropriate 7th chord. So I won't bother with the triads, I'll just go straight in there with the extended 7ths. So we begin with C melodic minor. So that's with the minor major 7. Next up we have the Dorian flat 9. And the minor 7 arpeggio. Next we have the E flat Lydian augmented. And that's the E flat major 7 sharp 5. Then we move to the F Lydian dominant, so the F dominant 7. Then we have G Mixolydian flat 13. And the G dominant 7 arpeggio. Then we move up to the A Aeolian flat 5. And the A minor 7 flat 5. And then finally the B Superlocrian. And the B minor 7 flat 5. And then we're back to the C harmonic melodic minor. This particular melodic minor scale is often called the jazz minor or jazz melodic minor scale, and that's because it's used a lot in jazz improvisation. One of the key reasons for using it is because of the altered dominant 7th chords that can be found in there. So there's dominant 7th chords starting on the 5th degree, the 4th degree, and also the 7th degree. Now, I know I've said that it's the minor 7 flat 5 on the 7th degree, but if we look at that Superlocrian again, if I just work through it, you know, playing a note, skipping a note, playing a note, we get the minor 7 flat 5. But if you look in there, we actually have a minor third and a major third. Okay, so that major third there would actually be a diminished 4th if we were measuring it from the root note and being very proper about it. But you know, a diminished 4th is a major third, so that is a major third there. So we've got that minor third and the major third. So if we look at it as a major third and then look a little bit further up, we've also got the sharp 5 in there, or flat 13, and we've also got that flattened 7th in there, which gives us the bare bones of that dominant 7. So we can actually use the Superlocrian to play over dominant 7th chords, and if we do that, we actually have quite a few altered extensions in there. So I'll just go back a little. If we look at the 4th mode, we have the Lydian dominant. So again, that's a dominant 7 chord, but we've got that sharp 11 in there. So that gives us a 7 sharp 11 feel. So if you're playing over a dominant 7 chord, you can imply that sharp 11 feel with it. If we look at the Mixolydian flat 13, we've got the dominant 7 in there and that flat 13. So it's a 7 flat 13 feel. So play over a dominant 7 chord, you're going to be implying that flat 13. Then if we look at the Superlocrian, we've got the flat 9, the sharp 9, then we've got the sharp 11 or flat 5, then we've got the sharp 5 or flat 13. So all of the main altered extensions are in there. So the Superlocrian which is also called the altered scale, is really good for playing over dominant 7 chords and giving you that out kind of altered dominant feel. So for now, just practice those modes and be sure to associate those chords with those scales. And remember, you can download all the lesson material from talkingbass.net. Okay? I'll see you later.